Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to Book Summary 5, the 5-Minute Summary channel. I'm Sammy, your host. Today, we're diving into Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë, published in 1847 under the pseudonym Ellis Bell. This Gothic novel is a dark, passionate tale of love, revenge, and the destructive power of obsession. Let's dive into the key events and storylines so you'll feel like you've read it cover to cover. Wuthering Heights is set on the desolate moors of Yorkshire and revolves around two neighboring families, the Earnshaws of Wuthering Heights and the Lintons of Thrushcross Grange. The story is primarily narrated by Mr. Lockwood, a tenant at Thrushcross Grange, who learns about the tumultuous history of the families from Nellie Dean, the housekeeper. The novel begins when Mr. Lockwood moves to Thrushcross Grange and visits Wuthering Heights, where he meets the surly and mysterious Heathcliff, the master of the house. Lockwood's curiosity leads him to ask Nellie Dean about the history of Wuthering Heights and its inhabitants. Nellie recounts that years earlier, Mr. Earnshaw, the owner of Wuthering Heights, brought home an orphan boy named Heathcliff, whom he found in Liverpool. Heathcliff's arrival causes tension within the family. Earnshaw's son, Hindley, resents Heathcliff and mistreats him, while Earnshaw's daughter, Catherine, forms a close bond with him. As they grow up, Heathcliff and Catherine become inseparable and share a deep, passionate love. When Mr. Earnshaw dies, Hindley inherits Wuthering Heights and relegates Heathcliff to the status of a servant. Despite this, Heathcliff and Catherine's bond remains strong. However, Catherine's encounters with the Linton family at Thrushcross Grange introduce her to a different lifestyle. She becomes attracted to the refinement and social status of Edgar Linton, which creates a conflict between her love for Heathcliff and her desire for social advancement. Catherine eventually decides to marry Edgar, believing it would secure her social position. Heathcliff overhears part of her conversation with Nellie, in which Catherine confesses that she loves Heathcliff but cannot marry him due to his low status. Devastated, Heathcliff leaves Wuthering Heights and disappears for 3 years. During Heathcliff's absence, Catherine marries Edgar and moves to Thrushcross Grange. Heathcliff returns, having acquired wealth and education, and sets out to seek revenge on those who wronged him. He begins by buying Wuthering Heights from the now destitute Hindley, and gradually gains control over Thrushcross Grange by manipulating and marrying Isabella Linton, Edgar's sister. Heathcliff's return disrupts the lives of both families. Catherine is torn between her love for Heathcliff and her duty to Edgar. The intensity of her emotions leads to a physical and mental breakdown, and she dies shortly after giving birth to her daughter, Cathy. Heathcliff is devastated by Catherine's death and vows to continue his revenge. The second generation inherits the legacy of the first. Heathcliff's son, Linton Heathcliff, is frail and sickly. He is brought to Wuthering Heights after Isabella's death, where Heathcliff forces him to marry young Cathy Linton, Edgar and Catherine's daughter, to secure his claim to Thrushcross Grange. The marriage is miserable, and Linton dies shortly after, leaving Cathy trapped at Wuthering Heights under Heathcliff's control. As Heathcliff's obsession with revenge consumes him, he becomes increasingly tormented by memories of Catherine. His desire for vengeance turns inward, and he is haunted by visions of her. Heathcliff's health and sanity deteriorate, and he eventually dies, longing to be reunited with Catherine in death. The novel concludes with a glimmer of hope as young Cathy and Hareton Earnshaw, Hindley's son, begin to develop a mutual affection. Their relationship suggests the possibility of healing and redemption for the next generation. They plan to marry and move to Thrushcross Grange, leaving the dark history of Wuthering Heights behind. Wuthering Heights is a powerful exploration of the complexities of love and the destructive nature of obsession and revenge. Emily Bronte's masterful storytelling and rich, atmospheric prose create a haunting and unforgettable narrative that continues to captivate readers. Thank you for tuning in to Book Summary 5, the 5-Minute Summary channel. If you enjoyed this summary, please subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Until next time, happy reading.